Is 50 Cent poor?
50 Cent filing for bankruptcy while posting photos of himself surrounded by cash on Instagram. Only one man in the world could pull that off, and do it with a straight face. To really understand how he got there, you have to go back to the early 2000s, when 50 Cent exploded onto the scene with Get Rich or Die Trying. Over 20 million albums sold, massive tours, the G-Unit brand, endorsements, acting. The money was coming in from every direction. But the real game changer came in 2007, when he made a stake investment in Vitamin Water just before Coca-Cola acquired the company. The payout is widely estimated somewhere between $40 and $100 million, with some inflated claims running as high as $400 million. Whatever the exact figure, it was enough to land him on Forbes' hip-hop rich list alongside Jay-Z, with net worth estimates climbing to $150 million in the early 2010s. And the idea behind Vitamin Water? It came from something surprisingly simple. 50 was in a supermarket one day and noticed a gallon of spring water priced at $2.89 sitting right next to another gallon for 59 cents. He knew they were probably the same water, just different branding. That's when it clicked. He went back and told his manager Chris Lighty he wanted to sell water. Chris looked at him like he had lost his mind. But 50 kept it simple. Everybody needs water. The money came fast. His first major purchase after the Vitamin Water deal was a small Mercedes-Benz C-Class for his grandmother. That and an $800 a month apartment were his only expenses at the time. By the time he came back from tour, he had $38 million sitting there. So when a journalist mentioned Mike Tyson's old mansion, 50 went and looked at it and bought it. His logic? When you make $38 million, if you don't spend it, the IRS is just going to take it anyway. That mansion turned out to be one of the worst financial decisions he ever made. He bought it in 2003 for $4.1 million as a tax write-off. He listed it for $18.5 million in 2007. It sat on the market for 12 years. He finally unloaded it for $2.9 million, an 84% reduction from his original asking price. And this wasn't just bad luck. It reflected a broader pattern that was starting to take shape. Around this time, 50 Cent started to believe he had the formula to make anything work. He launched an energy drink. It flopped. He expanded G-Unit into film production, clothing, boxing promotion. Many of these ventures closed down quickly. He spread himself thin, and the results showed it. Then the lawsuits started rolling in. Between 2014 and 2015, things got serious. He lost a major case involving Sleek Audio over his SMS headphone brand. Back in 2010, he had partnered with Sleek Audio to develop a wireless headphone line. He invested over $1 million into the venture, but the partnership fell apart. 50 went on to launch his own headphone company, SMS Audio. Sleek sued him, claiming the designs were stolen and that confidential business strategies had been misappropriated. He lost. A settlement was reached in 2016, $14.5 million paid out. Then came a separate $5 million judgment tied to a Rick Ross feud and a sex tape he had posted online. On July 13, 2015, 50 Cent filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy in Connecticut. Filed assets and liabilities in the $10 to $50 million range. One document showing $24 million in assets against $32 million in debts, with monthly expenses running at $108,000. And right in the middle of all of it, his Instagram started filling up with photos of him eating money sandwiches, opening a fridge full of cash, sitting at a coffee table built out of bills. One post literally spelled out the word broke in stacks of hundreds. The judge was not amused. But here's the thing. 50 Cent knew exactly what he was doing. Chapter 11 isn't the same as Chapter 7. Chapter 11 is a reorganization. He had 4 companies, each holding $3 to $4 million. He could technically pull money from those accounts while the courts worked out how to handle his debts. He explained it plainly. Once you become publicly successful, you become a target. Lawyers work on contingency, chasing whatever they can get. The Instagram posts were a distraction. He turned his own financial crisis into a PR moment and took the spotlight completely off what was actually happening behind the scenes. A plan was set in motion to repay $23 million to creditors. By February 2017, the bankruptcy was discharged after he paid back $22 million ahead of schedule using his own funds. The case was resolved. But that period had done real damage to his public image and his financial standing, and the road back wasn't going to be straightforward. One of the moves that helped him claw money back was auditing his own record label, the deal he had with Aftermath and Interscope under Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine. His relationship with them had soured, and they weren't willing to let him go. So instead of fighting it directly, he went through the books. What he found was significant. The way ringtone sales were structured in his contracts mirrored how singles were paid, and when he applied that logic, he estimated the label owed him somewhere around $23 million. The audit dragged on for 4 years, but it worked. He got what he was owed, and more importantly, he got off the label. As he put it himself, if every artist audited their label, the results would be eye-opening. The distribution fee alone is one of the most egregious things the industry does, and most artists never even look at it. Meanwhile, his early days with the Power series weren't exactly the big win people assume. He was initially taking $17,000 per episode as executive producer, recurring cast member, music supervisor, and theme song creator all at once. He was getting paid more to show up at nightclubs and wave. But he wasn't in it for the short-term money. He wanted to build something. He wanted to prove that someone from his culture could actually create and own a prestige television show. That long game thinking eventually paid off in a major way. In 2018, he signed a 4-year multi-series deal with Starz estimated at around $150 million. The Power franchise grew into a massive brand with multiple spin-offs. When the Starz deal expired in 2022, he moved his production company to Fox. The recovery was real and substantial. His net worth today is estimated back in the 40 to 100 million range, rebuilt largely through the entertainment industry rather than the scattered business ventures that nearly buried him a decade ago. But not everyone is willing to give him credit for it. Rick Ross has made a point of repeatedly claiming that 50 Cent is washed, broke, and doesn't actually own anything he's attached to, including the Diddy documentary. Ross says they just throw 50's name on things, hand him a check, and move on. He's even claimed that when his legal team pulled up 50's bank records during the copyright infringement lawsuit, the case involving a 30-second sample of In Da Club that ultimately got dismissed, what they found was embarrassing. A 2-bedroom apartment. Cash poor. Ross says he actually felt bad for him. 50 has fired back every single time. He's pointed out that nothing else generates attention for Ross like mentioning his name. He's called out the property Ross lives in, noting that the upkeep costs more than the nightclub appearances can actually pay for. He's questioned why a supposedly rich man is out there cutting his own grass. These two are never going to be friendly, and at this point the back and forth has become its own kind of entertainment. There was also the child support situation. For years he was paying nearly $500,000 a year, roughly $40,000 a month, to his son's mother. She took him back to court saying it wasn't enough. The judge disagreed and cut the payments down to $6,700 a month, a significant reduction by any measure. Now at 50, he says he's genuinely content. He's bought every car he wanted, some of them 2 or 3 times over, and let them go when newer versions came out. He's reached a point where there isn't much left that he wants that he doesn't already have. He's also been deliberate about where he chooses to live, recognizing that high-tax environments take an outsized chunk from high earners, and that it makes more sense to be somewhere that actually works in your favor financially. What this story ultimately comes down to is perspective. Someone who started with absolutely nothing, who lost his mother young, never knew his father, reaching $100 million, and then clawing his way back from near financial ruin to rebuild it again is a story that stands on its own. The bankruptcy wasn't a collapse. It was a reorganization, managed by someone who figured out the system, played it publicly, paid back what he owed ahead of schedule, and came out the other side still standing. If you found this breakdown interesting, drop a comment with your take. Was the bankruptcy a genius move or a sign of reckless spending? And if you want more stories like this on how money really works in the music and entertainment industry, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss one.
Diddy that blew up. It was a #1 documentary for like weeks.
They just use him. They'll put his name on there, give him 10K, and that's it. He don't own any of that.
Obviously, bro, it's been going on for so long. I fancy, right? Nothing else works for him. Outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, he mentioned me. It gets covered first. You see Tim Z say, 50 Cent said this is going to be bad for Irv Gotti's career. I get covered across the board. Yeah. They get covered on the hip hop blogs. It is what it is. Yeah. And you watch, because I have nothing else to say. You just see it happen periodically as it goes. You know, you see that big white elephant, that property he lives at? It costs more than the nightclubs. He's in the nightclubs. We know what they can give you. They can't pay you more than they can pay you because the room can't hold enough people for them to give you the money to stay there.
Talking of money,
So cease and desist ain't never been nothing we been big on in lawsuits, shit like that. 50 Cent sued me before. We beat his ass, kicked him to sleep in court, sent him back home. He was poor. When we pulled up his banking accounts, I felt bad for him. I really did. But, you like that? Go ahead and laugh. Look at the camera. Let the camera see it. Hey, let the 50, they laughing at you. Make sure y'all Google that to see what that shit went like. I kicked dog to sleep. But I made my lawyer pull up his finance. It was bad.
Oh, really?
How bad? It was bad. They made sure I wouldn't say nothing about it. I can't say no dollar figure, but it was That nigga was in an apartment, 2-bedroom. I felt bad for dog. I was like, damn. I know niggas that bought a 2-bedroom just for their puppies and shit.
Guess not.
You gotta hustle hard.
and he's made defamation